SABC News' economics reporter Katlego Legodi is at the briefing and joins us now with an update. Katlego, thank you so much for joining us. Look, you were at the briefing. What actually transpired there? Any good news?
A very good afternoon to you, Alicia, and to our viewers at home. For the first time today, the country listening or getting a sense of the work that has been done under the helm or just under the leadership of Mr. Dan Marokane as the CEO of the utility, taking over on the 1st of March 2024. So indeed, there are a little bit of good news when you look at it. I guess most of us will be looking for a zero stage of load shedding, perpetual zero stage of load shedding, no load shedding at all. But we see the power utility coming through this afternoon to give us a sense of how then things are going to fare going into the winter period. We're looking here, as you heard there from Mr. Dan Marokane, at stage 2 of load shedding, and the implementation of that extreme will be stage 5 of load shedding if indeed then things don't turn the corner and the work that has been done doesn't bear results. Winter usually, Alicia, becomes a little bit tricky for the utility, looking at the fact that, hey, there's going to be a lot of demand from us as users, moving into this space to ensure that at least we kept warm in this period. We're seeing him talking about and lauding the work of the Energy Action Plan under the leadership of NECOM and Dr. Hosien Soramogopa as the Electricity Minister. There are interventions as well coming through from government in terms of ensuring that they roll out the incentives and they support Eskom in the rollout of incentives in terms of encouraging people to more or less come through and install solars and just get incentives from Eskom where that is concerned. But also looking at the work that has been done, the focus being on apex priority power stations, whereby Eskom has been looking at power station from power station in ensuring that at least we see a little bit of a move and these units are recovered as we go along. In about 5 months' time, we're looking at about 2,500 of those megawatts to come back onto the grid, and this through some of those power stations, including one of them being Kusile and Kubek. I'm going to bring into the conversation now from Eskom, Mr. Bheki Nxumalo. He's the head of generation. He'll give us a sense and just wrap it up for us nicely in terms of what came out of this briefing here today. A little bit of good news. I mean, when you look at it, the work that you've been doing over time have seen us today being day 30 without load shedding, and you're expecting these lower stages of load shedding to continue well into winter. Welcome to the SABC.
Thank you very much, Katlego, and good afternoon to yourself and the viewers of SABC. I think you rightfully said we are quite pleased with the current performance that we have seen for these first 30 days of this winter. So it's really the testament of the job that has been done based on the recovery plan that we've been doing, and then a lot of work that is also coming through from the work of the NECOM, as you indicated as well, supporting us to execute. I think the plan for winter is now set. We, as our chief executive indicated, we plan to contain at west towards stage 2, but we are looking forward in terms of our plans as well from generation that we keep it at best case as we have indicated earlier.
Give us a sense of the wins. What can we attribute the latest to? I mean, we've had the noises around the fact that this can be linked to the upcoming elections, and even politicians going about to say that post the elections we may see heightened levels of load shedding. Hence, we saw NASA as well approving and moving through with the guidelines that would push load shedding to stage 16 at worst case scenario. What can we attribute this to? And really, can we expect to see the continuation of where we are right now into winter and beyond?
Most definitely. That's why we have shared that very transparently in terms of what we are planning from Eskom side, that at those scenarios at 14,000 and 15,000, what levels of 15,000 of breakdown that we will contain the load shedding stages at stage 2. So it's got nothing to do really with the election. It's the job that we have been doing. Even if there was no elections happening, that's what we would have been as well, because for us it's important that we understand the impact of this load shedding into the country and how it affects every South African citizen, which we have already apologized. So we are quite happy that at least there was some reprieve for the communities as well, and the South Africans and businesses at large.
Let's get a sense of the work that has been done. I mean, yesterday we saw the announcement coming through from government and from parliament around the burning of diesel, and even politicians still, we see them playing into this space and saying that the burning of diesel to that amount, looking at 24 billion rand from last year coming into this year, really the heightened burning of levels of the usage of diesel is why we find ourselves here. And that does not indicate or point to the end of load shedding. Instead, we'll see the utility that is constrained, looking at everything else that flows from the dependence on diesel. Give us a sense and clarify on this. And are we burning more diesel now just to ensure that the lights are on?
Actually, I must say, the way we are burning diesel now, because we use the reference of last winter as well and the budget for this year. If I look at the budget for this month in particular, we are almost like 40% below that. And then last year, compared to last year, we've burned about 3 billion for the month of April. This year, we are about 1.4 billion. So it shows that actually we are burning less. Last year, we were running diesel for more hours. Now, we're only running over peak, like we have indicated as well with the system operator. That currently we are planning, for us, those are the indicators as well, that the more you have more reserve, and then you start to burn less diesel, then it shows that the progress is starting to bear fruit.
And so the monies, how much are we talking about here in terms of the burning of this diesel?
Yeah, like I've indicated that for this month now, we are about total burned about 1.4 billion. So that's where we're going to finishing this one. And then if you compare it to last year, it was about 3.1 billion. So you could see it's almost half of that we are actually using this time around. Testament, you've seen the growth of the availability factor, and then the reduction in the unavailability. Those are the key factors as well that are giving us this reprieve as well. Because if you compare to last year in April, we were around just over 50%. This week we've indicated that we have hit about 61.2%. Yeah. So those are the combinations of issues that is giving us this reprieve, not excessive burning of diesel at all.
And also, just before we let you go, Mr. Nxumalo, give us a sense then of this campaign that you're starting in May. What would be the expectations from the consumers here to help with this campaign? You've marked May as a winter, energy saving month, and you're talking about a campaign that will kick off on the 2nd of May. Give us a sense of how you're expecting, or what would be your expectations from us as consumers to help you keep the lights on.
No, thank you very much for that question. I think the campaign will also assist us because as you have seen, that the biggest area we need to deal with is the peak, especially over the evening. So there we expect the South Africans to assist us by dropping that demand during that period, because by doing so it will assist all of us to say for those 2-3 hours over the evening peaks, if everyone can switch off the things that you don't need to be using, like the geysers, the pool pumps and all of those other, and the likes of those things, and then those are the things that assist us to shave off that peak demand that we are looking for, over 32,000 during the peak of this year, as indicated by the system operator. Thank you, Katlego.
Nxumalo, will we have the lights on during the elections? Will the lights be on? You've spoken about the IEC and that you're looking at working with the IEC. Just briefly before we let you go, will the lights be on during the elections on May 29th?
I think if you look at Katlego on what we have presented and where we are for this month, it should give South Africans some confidence, better than if you were asking me these questions last year, this time, it was going to be much difficult. But I think the South African are experiencing what is happening in the country now in terms of the energy supply. So we are not even looking at the elections. We are looking at having the lights on all the time from Eskom and generation as well. That's what we are striving to do. So the election is one event that's happening. Obviously, it's a critical event in the country, but we are looking beyond the elections, that all the times the South Africans should have power. Thank you.
Right, so thank you very much for your time. The head of generation here at Eskom, Mr. Bheki Nxumalo, giving us a sense of really everything, the interventions, the work that have been done over time to ensure that the lights are on. They have signed a memorandum of understanding here, Alicia. Alicia, with the IEC. That's what came out of this briefing, to ensure that at least there's cooperation during elections and that the lights are on. But also they've given us an assurance that going into winter and beyond winter, we'll still get the best out of these power stations, and the energy availability factor, they are looking at ensuring that it moves from 61% well into the 65% that they've targeted coming into the year 2024. Alicia, it's back to you in studio for now.
Thank you so much to SABC News economics reporter there, Katlego Legodi, and he is at Megawatt Park. He was joined there by Eskom head of generation there, Mr. Bheki Nxumalo. So brace yourself for some load shedding, albeit in lower stages, as soon as winter hits.